Good morning and welcome, honored veterans, visiting dignitaries, members of the Hastings community and their guests, students and staff of Hastings High School. Welcome to our Veterans Day ceremony. Let's hear it. Veterans Day is a national day proclaimed annually by the President of the United States and by the state governors in honor of former members of the United States Armed Services to recall their sacrifices in war and contributions in peace. It was formerly known as Armistice Day. On the 11th day of the 11th month, at the 11th hour, in 1918, an armistice, or temporary cessation of hostilities, went into effect between the Allied nations and Germany. A year later, in 1919, President Woodrow Wilson first proclaimed November 11th as Armistice Day as a way to recognize those who served and died in that great war. On June 1st, 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower signed an act of Congress to, quote, honor American veterans of all wars on the 11th day of November each year. Thus, Veterans Day came into being with observances held in towns and cities throughout the country and at Arlington National Cemetery outside of Washington, D.C. Let me take a moment and read for you a portion of this year's presidential proclamation issued by the White House late last week. I quote, "This day and every day, we pay tribute to America's sons and daughters who have answered our country's call to serve and defend our way of life. We recognize the sacrifice of those who have been part of the finest fighting force the world has ever known, and the loved ones who stand beside them. We will never forget the heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice and all those who have not yet returned home. As a grateful nation, let us show our appreciation by honoring all of our veterans and working to ensure the promise of America is within the reach of all who have protected it." Signed, the President of the United States, Barack Obama. At this time, will you please rise and remove your hats for the presentation of our nation's colors. Our flag is being presented today by Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 1210 Honor Guard. And now our vocal jazz ensemble will perform our national anthem.
Stripes
Would you please remain standing and join me now in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Today, there is, and perhaps there always will be, conflict in the world. In the United States, we are fortunate to enjoy peace and freedom. Like other things of great value, the security we have did not come cheaply. Part of the cost has already been paid by Americans who answered the call to military duty when their country needed them. Brave men and women served in wars from the Revolutionary War to the ongoing War on Terror. They have earned the distinction of veteran. But another part of freedom's cost must continue to be paid long after the guns have been silenced. This debt is owed to America's veterans. Some need their country's help, even as their country once needed theirs, to readjust into society, to recover from wounds, or to overcome hardships of age and infirmity. Let us continue to help those veterans who are in need with the greatest possible compassion and understanding. To the rest, since they asked for no special help, we can pay tribute this day by recognizing what they have achieved and join them in their resolve to keep America strong and free. It is most fitting that we recognize these veterans assembled here today, but it would be improper to forget our fallen countrymen who did not return to their families and loved ones. So please join me in pausing now and being silent for a moment to honor those who died in the service to the United States. Please rise. You may be seated.
Free
And now, we would like to recognize individual members and veterans of the United States Army, Marines, Navy, Coast Guard, and Air Force by performing the musical medley, Armed Forces, The Pride of America. Ladies and gentlemen, when your military song is performed, please rise and be recognized. The United States Army. The United States Marines. The United States Navy. The United States Coast Guard. The United States Air Force. At this time, I am honored to present the senior United States Senator from Minnesota, Senator Klobuchar is a graduate of Wayzata High School, Yale University, and the University of Chicago Law School. She is the first woman elected to represent the state of Minnesota in the United States Senate. Please give a warm welcome to Senator Amy Klobuchar.
Okay, he's just a little taller than me. All right. Well, thank you so much. What an amazing gathering of our veterans. How fun is that song? How good is the band and the choir? Thank you so much. It is wonderful to be here with my friend Senator Sieben, as well as State Representative McNamara. Thank you so much. Paul Hicks, your mayor. We had so much fun opening that new bridge, Representative Klein and I, and we were glad to be of help on that bridge. Also, the Commissioner Slavic, I know, is here, your school board, Tim Collins, your superintendent, your principal, Mike Johnson, and I know he was a principal when I came in, and I said, I have to leave a little early because we have the state veterans event. And I said, how much is the time? I want to stay as long as he can. And he said, the number after yours is 11 minutes long. He said, I'm a principal. We have bells go off all the time. I thank him for that. Also, your commander, Joe Balsnick, and also Don Latch of the VFW, Jim Kuhn, Dean Markinson from Beyond the Yellow Ribbon. You just have a tremendous group of people that are gathered here today. Hastings High School, I know, is one of the first high schools in our state to host a Community Veterans Day event to honor those who've served. It's a wonderful tradition, and the fact that everyone got here through the snow is a tribute to your own patriotism. I was reminded today, in the words of Garrison Keillor, that Minnesota is a state where the women are strong, right? The men are good looking, right, Denny? And all of the snowstorms are above average. That was really quite something the last few days, and another testament to Minnesota being strong. I think there are two things that our veterans have in common. One, as I thought of as I watched our veterans stand today, is a deep sense of patriotism, a patriotism that goes way beyond just simply feeling pride in our country. All veterans here were willing to lay down their lives for our country and our great nation. The second thing that all veterans have in common is being changed by the experience of serving in their country. I watched our veteran right behind me here, little tears going down his cheeks as he heard that music. And I think that's because our veterans, when they hear these songs, think about those they've lost that served with them. They think about what happened when they come home. Some of them, it wasn't always easy, especially during Vietnam when they came back to this country. And they also think of everything that's happened since they left the service. It's changed them. The act of service changes a person. Last month in Washington, D.C., 14 years after being authorized by Congress, the American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial finally opened on the National Mall. Some of you, I'm sure, have visited memorials on the mall, and our beautiful World War II Memorial, the Korean War Veterans Memorial, the Vietnam Memorial. It is something to behold. But unlike the other memorials, the American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial is not limited to one conflict. It is for veterans of all wars, of all branches, for all time. And unlike the other memorials, the individual voices of those veterans are front and center. Their own words are inscribed on the 3 glass panels. These veterans and the people who love them speak of the loss and the pain. They speak of injuries visible and invisible. But most of all, they speak of hope and healing. I have a purpose in life, reads the quote ascribed to Bobby Barrera, a Texas Marine who was seriously burned in 1969 when a 500-pound landmine exploded under his armored personnel carrier. That's been to help other military families through some of what I had to go through. If I had to go through it myself in order to help others, I'm okay with that. We have veterans like that in Minnesota. One of them is Tom Block, the 2014 Army Times Soldier of the Year. Back in July, I got to escort Tom Block to the stage when he got that award. He asked me to be there, and it was one of my biggest honors of the year. About a year ago, Sergeant Block, who's from Wasika, and his fellow Rangers were rooting out insurgents planning attacks in southern Afghanistan. When one of the insurgents detonated a suicide bomb, Sergeant Block was thrown 35 feet into a minefield and nearly killed. 4 of his fellow soldiers lost their lives. But it wasn't enough for Sergeant Block that he survived. He lost one eye. He endured 6 surgeries. He taught himself how to walk again. He's gone back to work. He actually has a Superman eye in the eye that's missing because he wants to show everyone that he's even stronger from this experience. Doctors rebuilt the bones in his face. His right eye, as I said, is a prosthetic, and he doesn't like bullies, he said to the Military Times. After nearly losing his life, after painfully rebuilding, why does he continue to serve? Sergeant Block knows that there is so much left to give, and that is really the story of our veterans. It's not only what they do when they're there, it's what they do when they come back. Time and time again, I've met these veterans, some of them disabled from service, some of them not, who have decided to give back to our country when they come back to America. And I want us to remember that that is a lot about what today is about. Just this last week, I had the honor to talk to a veteran who is 97 years old. He'd fought in the Battle of the Bulge for our country. He was blinded in both eyes, blinded for life. He came back to Foley and then to St. Cloud, and he's in hospice care now, probably in the last weeks of his life. And his daughters wanted me to be able to talk to him, and he was just as lively as you can imagine, talking about his life and his service and how he had come back to Minnesota and raised 3 kids totally blind. Those are our veterans. They continue to serve when they return. And I figure when they come back to our country, there wasn't a waiting line, right? When these veterans signed up to serve our country, and then when they come back to the United States of America and they need health care, or they need a job, or they need a college education, there should never be a waiting line in the United States of America. That's what our country is about. I think you all know we've had some challenges, major challenges around the country when it comes to VA health care. I'm glad that our new Administrator of Veterans Affairs, Secretary McDonald, has really pledged to make some changes there. Just this week, he made some major announcements because we're proud of our VA system in Minnesota. We want it to work as best as it can, and that means that we have to see some changes in how it's administered nationally. This spirit of service that we have to do our part of, those at us who haven't served, we have to do our part to make sure that our veterans get the services they deserve. It must continue on every day. It's not just about greeting people. It's not just about one day. It's about every single day. And I love this acknowledgement, mine keep falling off, that the school has put together with these stickers, because it even made me think about my dad, who actually served during the Korean War. He was stationed in Germany. I think about my uncles. I think about General Casalter from my office. Where are you, General? He's somewhere around here. He actually headed up the fighter wing up in Duluth for years, and now he's retired and not retired from service, and that he serves our veterans as a member of my office. Those are veterans. Every single one of us has someone in their lives. So I thought I would end with this story, and it's really a story of remembering our veterans, not just one day, but every day. And this happened to me a few years ago when we were greeting the veterans' flights when they come back to Minnesota. Sometimes if I'm in Washington, I get to see them there, but this was one that was coming back. And if any of you know about these honor flights, they're World War II vets. Many of them have never seen the beautiful new World War II memorial in Washington, and they get on these flights at like 6 or 5 in the morning and literally spend the whole day there and then come back late at night. Many of them are in their 80s and their 90s, and this, for many of them, will be the first and last time they ever see this monument. And we were all there at the Humphrey Terminal at the airport, and there were 1,000 people there for this particular flight. It was a huge flight, and they had balloons, and everyone was waiting. And these soldiers got off of that plane in wheelchairs and in walkers, and literally every single one of them had tears rolling down their eyes. and people were cheering, and they had a polka band by the luggage area, and I was standing there, and this man, well into his 90s, came up to me and said, "Senator, can I have this dance?" And I go, the band just stopped playing. We'll have to take a rain check. Who takes a rain check with the 95-year-old? But I did. So we'll have to take a rain check. He goes, no, Senator. He goes, "I can sing. I have a really good voice." And I said, "All right." So he starts singing that song, "You're just too good to be true." And we start dancing and dancing around that luggage carousel. And that moment I thought to myself, this was what our veterans deserve every day. Not tomatoes like what happened to those Vietnam vets when they come back. What our veterans deserve is 1,000 people greeting them in an airport with balloons. They deserve to be dancing with a senator around the luggage carousel. So that is my lasting message to you, and especially our students who I love are all sitting here in the morning and learning about the past, but also thinking to the future, that not only is this respect and dignity important to how we treat those that serve on the front line, it's also important to your lives as you think about the service that you might want to pursue, whether it's with the military, whether you go into business and you want to volunteer and help people on the side, whether you decide to serve as a teacher or as in the medical profession, well, however you do it, that you are inspired by these stories in the service of our veteran. That's what today is about. Thank you so much for having me.
When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Thus reads the Declaration of the United States. Here lies a soldier of the Revolution, whose identity is known but to God. His was an idealism that recognized a supreme being, that planted religious liberty on our shores, that overthrew despotism, that established a people's government, that wrote a constitution setting metes and bounds of delegated authority, that fixed a standard of value upon men above gold, and lifted high the torch of civil liberty along the pathway of mankind. In ourselves, his soul exists as part of ours, his memory's mansion. From Tomb of the Unknown Revolutionary Soldier, as written by William Tyler Page. I believe in the United States of America as a government of the people, by the people, for the people, whose just powers are derived from the consent of the governed, a democracy in a republic, a sovereign nation of many sovereign states, a perfect union, one and inseparable, established upon those principles of freedom, equality, and humanity for which American patriots sacrificed their lives and their fortunes. I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support its Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and to defend it against all enemies. From the American's Creed by William Tyler Page, as adopted by Congress in 1918. Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. From Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, November 19th, 1863. We must be willing, individually and as a nation, to accept whatever sacrifices may be required of us. A people that values its privileges above its principles soon loses both. From Call to Sacrifice by Dwight D. Eisenhower. I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country. From the last words of Nathan Hale, September 22nd, 1776. Put none but Americans on guard tonight. From Message to His Commanders by George Washington, April 30th, 1777. We give up the fort when there's not a man left to defend it. From Reply to the British by George Croghan, August 1, 1813. Lafayette, we are here. From Americans in Paris by C.E. Stanton, July 4th, 1917. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. Spoken at Pearl Harbor by Howell M. Forgy, December 7, 1941. The free men of the world are marching together in victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessings of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking. As spoken by General Dwight D. Eisenhower as part of his D-Day order, June 6, 1944. We do honor to the Stars and Stripes as the emblem of our country and the symbol of all that our patriotism means. We identify the flag with almost everything we hold dear on earth. It represents our peace and security, our civil and political liberty, our freedom of religious worship, our family, our friends, our home. We see it in the great multitude of blessings, of rights and privileges that make up our country. But when we look at the flag and behold it emblazoned with all of our rights, we must remember that it is equally a symbol of our duties. Every glory that we associate with it is the result of duty done. A yearly contemplation of our flag strengthens and purifies the national conscience. From Rights and Duties by Calvin Coolidge. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gate shall stand a mighty woman with torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name be Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep ancient lands your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shores, send these the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. From the New Colossus by Emma Lazarus, as inscribed on the Statue of Liberty.
Good morning, my name is Mike Johnson, and especially on a day like today, it's my pleasure and honor to serve as principal of Hastings High School. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the many veterans that are with us today, and also thanks to KDWA Radio and Hastings Community Television. We're welcoming those veterans that are listening on 1460 AM, as well as watching on Hastings Community Television, Channel 14. I would like to recognize those staff members at Hastings High School who served in the military. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name. Hastings Police School Resource Officer David Bauer, Building and Ground Staff Cal Rudy and Kurt Grumman, and Hastings Community Television Executive Director Tom Wright. In addition to these staff at Hastings High School, we have in attendance other Hastings High School district employees and retirees who also are veterans. At this time, would all veterans who are employees or retirees of the Hastings School District please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Today you see many of us as students and staff wearing patriotic stickers. We are wearing each sticker in honor of a veteran from within our families. My grandfather and 5 great uncles served in World War II, one of which died on the beaches of Normandy. I also have an uncle that served in Korea and a brother-in-law who served in the Persian Gulf. Our freshman students, link crew leaders, and the 2nd grade classes at Pinecrest Elementary School wrote thank you notes to give to the veterans today. These notes were passed out as veterans took their seats this morning. I'd like to read a few of the 2nd grade letters to you, and to think what veterans come from the mind of a 2nd grader. These will speak for themselves. Dear veteran, thank you for protecting our country. You guys have the best job. When I grow up, I want to be a veteran, from Aaron. Dear veteran, I know that you're probably very, very, very brave and really strong. I'm probably not as brave as you are. I'm probably way, way, way less stronger than you. I like veterans. They fight in the Army. I wonder why we celebrate Veterans Day, whatever the reason is. I'm glad we do. I've heard that you fly planes. That means you can drive, too. Sincerely, Emily. Dear veteran, thank you for being in the Civil War. Thank you for fighting for our country. Thank you for letting us have freedom. Thank you for letting us live in our houses. And finally, thank you for leading us. You are our hero. Thank you for being in our country. We appreciate you. If you had to leave your family, then thank you for doing that. Happy Veterans Day. You mean a lot to us. Sincerely, Leah. There are many active servicemen and women with us today that are full-time soldiers or serve in the reserves. We also have parents with us whose children are currently serving in active military duty. In addition, Hastings High School sponsors a military support group, the students that help usher today and are wearing the red t-shirts, that have a family member actively serving in the military. If you are a current soldier, have a child in the military, or a member of the military support group, would you please stand so we can thank you for your active service to our country? Please stand. We will conclude our Veterans Day celebration by singing together For Spacious Skies. You can find the words in your program. The Military Support Group and Beyond the Yellow Ribbon campaign, along with the Hastings United Way, welcome all veterans and guests to coffee and cookies in the Commons after the ceremony. Our students will be reporting back to their Period 2 classes. To all of our veterans, on behalf of the student, staff, and parents of Hastings High School, thank you for serving our country.